If your hand hurts when you play the guitar, most people will tell you one of two things. One, just practice more, or you need stronger fingers. But if something in you says that surely pain-free guitar playing shouldn't be a battle to get to, you'd be right. Guitar should not hurt, and if it does, your body is telling you something in the mechanics of how you're playing that is working against what your body naturally wants to do and how it wants to move. So in this video, I want to show you the number one reason most guitarists experience pain while practicing and what to change so your playing becomes pain-free. And here's a hint, it is not about practicing more, a lack of talent, and it is definitely not about finger strength, because guitar technique is not about strength, it's about alignment. How about we bust that strength myth quickly? So here's my phone, which is roughly 250 grams with the case, and you can see if I just have the weight of the phone behind the fret, it is more than enough pressure to press down the strings. And this guitar is high tension strings, high action on the guitar as well. It'll also work on one of the lower frets, fret 2, which of course notoriously harder to press down. And in contrast to this, your hand is going to be far stronger with, in this case, being able to hold over 5 kilos on one finger. So each one of your fingers can generate around 20 times the force you need. So if you're struggling to press down the string, and if your hand hurts while you're practicing, strength is absolutely not your issue. Which means the real question becomes, what is your body actually trying to tell you? Pain is just feedback from your body. Your body is incredibly good at telling you when something is inefficient, when the mechanics aren't quite working. And in your guitar playing, the three most common places to feel pain are the muscle between your thumb and your index finger, in your wrist, and sometimes in the tendons running along the back of your shoulder. This could be on either side. Each one of these areas is telling you something about the mechanics of how you're playing. So let's start at the end of that chain and work our way backwards towards your shoulder. Hand pain, essentially squeezing the neck too hard. If the muscle between your thumb and your finger becomes sore, it usually means just one thing. You're squeezing way too hard on the neck. That muscle, the adductor pollicis, is exactly what powers your thumb pressing back into the neck from behind. So if it's sore, your hand's basically telling you you're clamping on the guitar like a vice. So try something interesting here. Play with your thumb completely off the back of the neck. Your accuracy might drop a bit, but you'll quickly discover something very important. Not only that you actually need very little pressure to play a clean note, as we saw earlier, but also it doesn't even need to come from your thumb. How can it when your thumb is actually taken completely out of the equation? Your fingers shouldn't be crashing against the strings, they should simply be gliding into place with minimal pressure, because again, guitar technique is not about strength, it's about alignment. When your hand is aligned properly with the guitar, the work becomes much easier. Then when we're talking about wrist pain, this is going to be one of the most common areas of pain that people come to me talking about. It usually comes from an unnatural angle in the wrist. When the wrist becomes bent sharply, the tendons running through it have to travel over a tight angle, and this increases the friction, it increases the strain. Over time, this can lead to fatigue and overuse problems, potentially carpal tunnel or different issues like that. Again, here your body is giving you feedback. It's telling you the position isn't working. For example, if I play a bar chord like this, you can see my wrist is bent quite sharply. But at the same time, your body's also telling you what the fix is. The direction that your wrist is pointing tells us what we need to know. It tells us exactly where your elbow wants to be. But we can't just place our elbow there without really contorting our bodies into place to get the elbow down there. So instead, we adjust the position of the guitar. Lift the neck until your wrist is pointing at your elbow in a nice straight line. As you can see, if I have the neck lower, my wrist is now a big angle, which is where the strain, where the pain is going to be coming from. As I lift it, I can straighten out my wrist naturally, my hands in the same position, and now I've got that alignment bringing down the tension, which is then going to alleviate the pain from my wrist. The tension disappears, the strain is gone, because again, it's not about strength, it's all about alignment, and having that position gives you the alignment you need in your wrist. Moving on to shoulder pain, the final piece where people often feel pain is in the back of their shoulder. And this usually happens as a wider part of the chain. When the guitar's too low, the wrist is bent, your arm's stretching forward, that's tightening the whole tendon all the way along through the back of your shoulder, into your back, into the back of your neck as well. But as you bring that up closer towards you, as your wrist straightens, as your elbow finds its place as well, your shoulder can slope down and you'll have a lot less tension across your entire tendon. Everything starts working with your body instead of against it. And as a result, not only has your wrist straightened up, you won't have pain there, you've alleviated pressure from the entire tendon, letting your shoulder relax, and if you have chronic pain in these areas over a while, of course, it'll take a bit of healing, but you'll see an instant result in the tendons relaxing and not causing the same issues they were beforehand. So hand pain, wrist pain, shoulder pain, they're often all coming from the same root issue. The guitar is sitting in a position that forces your body into inefficient mechanics. But when we listen to what the body is telling us and allow everything to line up naturally, your playing becomes pain-free. And something very awesome happens along with this. Not only are you then pain-free, but you push up your speed, you push up your accuracy, your control goes up, your tone, along with your sensitivity to what you're playing. All of these improve dramatically as a result. Efficient movement will always outperform forced movement. And that brings us back to the key idea through this whole video. Great guitar technique isn't about strength, it's about alignment. It's not about practicing endlessly with something that isn't working. It's about understanding the mechanics and applying them in your playing. So if playing the guitar hurts your hand, your wrist, your shoulder, the solution is better mechanics. When the guitar's positioned correctly and your body's in line, your playing suddenly becomes much easier. And in many cases, completely pain-free. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced pain while practicing the guitar yourself? And if you have, where have you felt it the most? Is it in your hands, wrists, shoulders, somewhere else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one myself. And if you want a more detailed video on your left elbow, check this one out here as it breaks down some ideas that I guarantee you have not heard before. I'll see you in there.